know that there's a misconception of our position in law enforcement and what we actually do, and there's always, they're quick just to throw everybody in jail, and it's completely not the case. It's completely not the case.
Our job is to reintegrate them back into the community and make them productive members. My officers get disappointed when they have to incarcerate someone they've been working with for so long, and then they make that bad decision.
To me, it's the individual that sits across from you, and our job primarily is to figure out how to motivate them to make changes. That's what it boils down to. We can refer them to just about every program the government or treatment people can come up with, but it's basically boils down to that individual wanting to make a change for themselves.
My dad wasn't no drug dealer, and a guy named Abdul was a confidential informant for the Williamsport police. So the guy got mad and grabbed my dad from behind, spun him around, and stabbed him with a Rambo knife with the sharp ridges on the back of it. Stabbed him 5 times, 3 times in the stomach and 2 in the chest. So my cousin come running around the corner, along with, my best friend coming out of the house. He was like, "Yeah, you gotta go up to the hospital." So I dropped a bag and said, "Yo, I'll haul ass all the way up to the corner where my dad was last seen at." Back then, it was Erie Ave, but it changed it to Memorial. So it was on the corner of Erie Ave and Walnut Street. Saw the big old puddle of blood. And I'm looking, I'm like, wow, it's shock.
I was with a guy, he was an addict, and he shot me up with heroin for the first time. This was like April of 2014. It was about the 3rd, 4th week. I kept telling my boyfriend, I think I had the flu or something. He's like, "No, you're dope sick. You had, because every time I used heroin, then I felt better." So I got addicted to that quick. I committed a burglary to support my heroin habit. And I got caught. Well, they basically caught up with me, and I had a needle in my possession. So I got charged with the burglary and possession of drug paraphernalia.
What led me to refer her to treatment court was all the violations that she had while she was on with me, which, looking back at it now, this was probably 2 years ago now. I probably had her for a total of 8 months. So within the 8-month time period, she had 5 failed urines, had been in and out of outpatient, went to rehab, just wasn't doing well. Like nothing that we did on like a general type of caseload level was working for her. So her only other option was to be referred out to treatment court.
I think that when she first came onto the program, the relationship was strained. She was getting used to the rules of the program, and I'm the enforcer. So I would have to come down on her about rule violations. She had missed appointments, and I believe she might have had a curfew violation, some of the more minor things. But through the time that we've been working together, and the relapses that she's had, obviously we've gotten to know each other. She's gotten to know me as well as I've gotten to know her, and I think that helps for the relationship. So I would say, even though she continues to struggle, I would say that our relationship today is better than it was when she first came on.
At first, I thought she was just this horrible, horrible person just out to ruin my life. But I know now that she's really just to help. She was there to manage my life when I couldn't manage it myself, and I needed that. Some people need that accountability. Most recently, I had 9 months clean, and I was doing really well. And basically, probation got lenient with me. I didn't have as much counseling and stuff with drug court, and I had to do a couple of meetings a week, and I got very complacent in my recovery. And with that complacency, I guess you would say, like, my ego got really big, because I have all this time clean, I can use just once and be fine. That's not how it goes. I used once and it was over. I started using almost every day immediately. And then I called probation and told them, I said, listen, I used, and I came in and I went to jail. And now, like, this time's completely different.
Shank Valentine, as an offender, he was released from the Lycoming County Prison on March 10th, 2017. The sentence that he originally got was 12 months minus 1 day to 24 months minus 1 day. So that's a parole sentence, but they made him eligible for the Lycoming County Reentry program. So from the day he was released from the county prison, he's been in the Reentry program.
To be honest, at first I didn't like it. You know, my first couple of weeks, I wasn't used to just standing up, talking to people, telling people about my life story and telling people how I feel, what I've done. But after a while, I got kind of used to it. These are all phase 1, phase 2. This is me right here. I'm more phase 3.
I would say Shank does make the best of the program. He is, I would say, a middle-aged offender. I mean, he's 39 years old. So, you know, dealing with someone who's 19 or 20, Shank has a little bit different outlook on life. He's been through the system a lot longer. So I think he's now to the point where he's ready to surrender as far as doing what he needs to do. He's very enjoyable to come in and talk to, very polite, respectful, and not just coming from me. Other officers in our office or in the reentry program have dealt with him and have said the same things about Shank.
Before, like, the first couple times that I used while I was on probation, I ran.
Generally, when she relapses, I have to go find her. So I'm hearing about it from other professionals or other people before I hear about it from her. So typically what has happened in the past is I'm trying to track her down at different relatives or different friends or boyfriends or wherever she might be, and we go and physically get her at the house. But once I find her, she's usually pretty honest with me about what happened, why she used, what the situation was leading up to that point. Unfortunately, she doesn't tend to catch it before she gets to that point.
I never turned myself in, never admitted anything. I don't want to live like that anymore. Like, I just want to be clean, sober, and just move on with my life.
So yesterday, I had already got the information that she had relapsed. So it was my intention to go to her house, locate her, and detain her so that she can be brought before the judge for the violation. Because if she's not found, she's just going to continue to use. So what we did was we went to the home, knocked on the door. The owner of the home came to the door first and allowed us into the residence. Well, once she got downstairs, we continued to talk a little bit more, and she started to explain to me that she had, her story is that her boyfriend had beat her up, held her down, and injected her with the drugs, which would have been methamphetamine. And she was really calm and really cooperative and continued to talk to me about the events that had happened leading up to the day that we detained her.
What do you need recovery-wise? What is it that you need? What are you missing? Why does this keep happening? Because you do well for a couple months and then you just fall off.
I need to stop depending so much on men. I'm so codependent.
Okay.
Well, it's not a fun thing when somebody's doing well and then they fall off. It's not enjoyable in that sense to put people in jail.
I'm not really sure what my recommendation is going to be for you, but I kind of want to know what your plan is. Like, if we keep you, what's your plan? What's going to be different? Because we can't keep doing the same thing with you, have you get out, do well for 3 or 4 months, and then relapse. It's a cycle that just keeps happening. So you need to tell me what your plan is. What's going to be different if the committee keeps you?
And sometimes it makes me very sad that I have to put somebody that I've been hoping for. And you hope for everybody that's on your caseload to be successful. And honestly, it's easier if they're successful. So it's not a good thing in any way when they don't succeed. But, you know, at the same time, when they're on with us in treatment court and they're using, and that's why they're violating, you're putting them in jail to save their life, and you're also putting them in jail to protect the community. So even though you really want good things for that person, if they're not doing the right things, it's important that they go to jail, because you can't leave them out using and letting their addiction run their life and make the decisions for them, because it's dangerous for everybody.